Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 16 Reunion Part 1. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share with a friend. Hit that notification bell so that you will be updated each and every time I upload a video. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. Listen, a few things before we get into the reunion, a few things that I noticed. Nobody stood out. There was not a moment where I was like, oh, okay. There wasn't. Also, this reunion, Drew seems a lot more confident. I did notice that. Also, Andrew know he gonna take up for Portia and Phaedra if he don't do nothing else, child. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So when the episode first opens up, all the ladies are arriving. You know, they get there really early. And Phaedra notices that Britt is not at the reunion, or at least not in her dressing room. So she goes into P. Willie's room, honey. She in there knocked out, honey. Got her blanket. Everything is going. It's 6:30 a.m. Now, they supposed to be out by 9. I'm talking about out on stage by 9. But at 6:30, they are still hemming and hawing. Ma'am, rise and shine. Get on up, Portia. Girl, get on up. And you know what was so crazy to me, though, y'all? It was so crazy that all the vets were in one room talking and all the new ladies were in another room. And then there's Drew. Now, Drew, girl, I do not know what is going on with you. Now, you just gained your footing. Okay, you just starting to hold your shoulders back. Now, here you are. Oh, my goodness. So Cynthia went over into the room with the vets and she was like, where's Britt? Child at that Airbnb hiding out. So Portia tries calling her and no answer, honey, straight to voicemail. Now it's 11:30. They are all 2.5 hours late. Kelly, Angela, and Shamia come out first. But baby, when Portia came out, did y'all see that stank look that Shamia gave her? They are pissed at each other at this reunion. Oh, also another thing I noticed. I understand now why Portia and Shamia have been such good friends for so long. They both like to lie, and they both have a lot of similarities. There's no good friend when it comes to the two of them. They got some stuff to them, both of them. Okay, because she was looking at Portia upside her head. And then as they get into the introductions, Portia gonna look her upside her head. But let's get into it. Moving forward. Oh, and also, the reunion fell flat. This gives that we can have one part of a reunion. Y'all remember season 1 when they were dressed like they were finna get ready to go run errands? And Nene had that purple shirt on and that big ass belt? We could have done that. Okay? We didn't need all these parts. We could have done one part because the way they were rushing through these segments, I was like, wait a minute, honey. Now we over here with Drew. Wait a minute. Because it did what? You must be Delu. Never ever had, honey. Where are we? Child, I was so confused. I ain't never had to rush through a reunion like this. Honey, shout out to Shamia. But that's neither here nor there. That's just a side note. But we really could go back to when they was wearing errand clothes. So then, you know, Phaedra in her costume, they come out. And finally, Drew comes out at noon. Tardy for the party. Girl, you are 3 hours late. Sit on down, child. So they get started. Andy reads these cue cards talking about one OG clocked out and a newbie clocked in. I don't know who wrote that, but Ken, you need to cuss y'all out, child. So anywho, Andy reads the cue cards and then he speaks to the ladies. Portia, he spoke to her first. She got some new boobies. Then he spoke to Phaedra about being back and, you know, wondering if she's getting PTSD from the stage, and she is not. Now, I was sitting here and I was looking and I was just thinking, oh, Lord, I wish she would take off that headpiece. Just take it off. And it's got little things dangling from it. Just take it off. So then Andy says to Shamia, from +1 to the 1. Well, not according to that look Portia gave. Portia, don't make me call Portia. Baby, the way she was looking at Shamia like D1. I'm trying to know you fucking lying. So then he spoke to the rest of the ladies. Hey, y'all. But I was so aggravated by the symmetry of these couches. Drew, you need to move to the other couch. Really and truly, you and Shamia need to switch places. But, I mean, it ain't up to me. But the way that couch was empty and just freaking frack were sitting on that side and everybody else on the other side, I was just like, oh, I just can't take it. I couldn't look at the screen, honey. I had to look at something else until they fixed that because it was just too much for me. So then Andy goes ahead and breaks the news that Britt is not coming. I don't give a damn. I feel like that was cowardly. You knew there were things that you were going to have to answer to, and so you didn't come. And the thing is, if you would have just let it play out, you would see that some of these people have now jumped on the Brit bandwagon. But because you didn't have patience, now you sitting somewhere trying to sue Bravo. Child, this is a fool. So Phaedra was like, this is a sisterhood. We all in the sorority. I really hate when they start talking about some sisterhood. Baby, if this is a sisterhood, count me out. I don't want nothing like this. This ain't no dang on sisterhood. I don't know what this is, but I don't want nothing to do with it. So Portia was telling them that she had spoke to her like the night before, but Britt didn't mention it. They basically were talking about the husbands and the boyfriends and the children's fathers attending the reunion. So then Drew tells everybody that Britt sent her a text message a few weeks ago saying that she was suing her. Baby, I know these lawyers tired. I know. I know they be so tired, Lord. Every time you turn around, it is a new suit. I know they be tired. Child, then Andy turned to Phaedra and said, tell me more about your headpiece. When I tell y'all I hollered, because I felt like that was translation for, girl, what the hell going on here? I just know that's what that was translation for, Andrew. You ain't fooling me. Now, I thought maybe sitting down, I would like some of these looks, but yeah, no. Those pictures did them justice. I still don't. And Phaedra looks even more silly sitting down. I just don't like it. So then they bring up the men in Grenada, honey, and, they're trying to get back down there to pop it for pimp. Then Andy tells the rookie couch that they had a great first season. So then he asked if anyone wanted to give any intentions. Do you guys want to set any intention? So then Portia starts to give her reunion speech, honey. Y'all know Portia is good for a reunion speech. I want to cook his meals. Cordell is not perfect by far. He's at the radio station today, and he was... Child, I cannot. You gotta love Portia, child. She is crazy as hell. So anywho, she was giving her speech, and she says she wants to try to see where she stands with the ladies. She came here. She's healing. She wants to figure out whether they're in or they're out, whether they're going to move forward or close the door. The door is closed, honey. Shout out to Nene. Moving forward. So they come back from the commercial break, honey, and even freaking Frank were like, girl, we need another body on this couch. It's cold over here. So then 50 Cent came out. Hey, girl. Now, I don't understand, again, why Drew just couldn't move. Baby, they play in her face all day. But see, it's her and it's not me. So therefore, and thus and such, we just gonna go with it. Even though I love me some 50 Cent. Hey, Cynthia, no offense to you. But, okay. Now, she said basically that she loved being a friend. She could pop in, she can pop out, honey. She ain't got really nothing to do. Andy jumped right in, asking Cynthia about the hood down below. I'm good on Cynthia's hood. I don't want to hear nothing about that. I'm sorry, I just don't. I was like, is this what we're really talking about? Cynthia having a hood below her waist? Absolutely not. Moving forward. So then he wanted to know about Mr. Amsterdam, and baby Cynthia quickly corrected him. She said, actually, his name is not Mr. Amsterdam. It's Le Prince. I wanted a king, but I settled for a prince. I said, oh, okay, girl, a little wordplay and whatnot. So his name is Le Prince. He's 38. And then Phaedra said her TV boo is 32. Absolutely not. Child, I guess if Cher is doing it, Madonna is doing it, 100 of the people be doing it. So if y'all want to do that, that's on y'all. But I just would never, child. I just couldn't. At least Cynthia's is closer to 40. But 32, child, he's still playing in the street, child. Because what do y'all have in common for real? Now, if y'all want to, more power to you. Get it how you live. It just personally is not for me. So then we move on to Portia and her 5-minute marriage. They show her time on the show this season with Dennis, Simon, Drew, Eenie, Meenie, Miny, and Mo. And of course, she got emotional seeing them mention Londi and seeing that little piece in the playback. And Andy was like, yeah, it's pretty sad. Pretty sad. That is devastating. So Andy talked a little bit about a bright spot that came about in the season, and that was her being able to film in the house. So Portia starts talking about with the home, she just feels like, because they were so in love, they almost didn't want to sign the prenup and didn't even want to think about paperwork. Girl, how in the world were you that much in love in 2 seconds? And also, you didn't want to think about paperwork, but you took that baby up to Todd? Portia, make it make sense, child. Please make it make sense. So then she said that as far as the divorce, it's up in the air. It didn't end, just like when she was pointing to the other couch. She said, just like when she went and her divorce didn't end. So Kelly and Drew were both looking at each other trying to figure out who is she. Now, I think she's talking about Kelly, because remember during the season, Kelly went to go and try to get the divorce finalized and everything, but they only had a certain amount of time and they went over. So the judge was like, yeah, I'm going back to my chambers to eat my Chick-fil-A. Y'all gonna have to figure it out on your own. Okay, come back when you're ready. So then Andy wanted to know where Simon was and if he was detained. And she said, yeah, that is true. Phaedra then pipes up as the attorney. Okay. And Miss Esquire says, yeah, it's because there's no citizenship here for him. That's the reason why he's over there. So then Portia said the people on the internets, okay, y'all on the interwebs, y'all think it's funny. And y'all think that she's the one that called. And she said she didn't, because if she did, then that wouldn't benefit her, because she would still be sitting here, married like she is now. Now, me personally, y'all lie so much, child. So, girl, whatever. Shamia then says that she tried to tell Portia to make sure that she found out everything about his assets, etc. Does he have real money, or is it monopoly? So then they asked Kelly why she wanted to know why Portia still that lady husband. Was it out of concern? Kelly gonna say, no, it definitely was out of concern. Girl, please. No, it was not. You wanted a moment. Okay, y'all had already rehearsed what you were gonna do when you met the girls that have already been on this show, and you decided that you were gonna take that moment. I mean, you had to know, though, Portia, that somebody was gonna ask, because they wanted to be messy. You hadn't been on the show, and this is the topic of discussion when it comes to you and Simon. So you had to know that somebody was going to ask the question, the burning question. So then she said, as far as the answer that she gave, she said she loved him. But Kelly says she thinks that that's fake. And so do I. So then Portia was like, yeah, but we talked to each other. We had a serious conversation, and we had a lot in common, especially with our divorces. Both our husbands were putting the divorce documents online. Well, honey, don't forget Ralph, because he was putting them out there too. Kelly said, yeah, but please do not compare the two. I was married for 11 years. You were married for 11 months. Baby, she said, don't compare apples to peaches. Baby, that was good to me. I said, oh, Kelly, that was a good one. And y'all know Phaedra was probably sitting over there having flashbacks of Puerto Rico. Because y'all remember when Demetria told Phaedra, the only thing we have in common is the number 8. Yours is leaving, mine's been here. Let me tell y'all something. The most epic set of reads came from Puerto Rico. Baby, it ain't nothing like it. That table read alone is enough for material for the next damn 5 years. Baby, they were reading each other down. And y'all listening to this, make sure y'all ain't wearing no skitty strap. Y'all better make sure y'all ain't wearing no skitty straps. Ooh, honey. Shout out to Demetria and Roger Bob. Moving forward. So, anywho, I didn't care, because neither one of y'all considered Drew's divorce. So, therefore, and thus and such, I don't give a damn. Nobody stopped to see if the lady was okay or nothing. Everybody was just on top of her. And Kelly, don't think I forgot that you sat there with that damn crystal talking about, Drew, you pretty much have an issue with everybody. Child, not the battle of the divorces. Anyway, then we move on to Portia. And Andy wanted to know why she said she would F that lady husband. Okay. Portia tried to spin it talking about, well, I apologized to you, but Angela actually apologized to me because she brought up Simon. Portia, you can never just take accountability for what you did. Why you just can't say, I shouldn't have said that? I don't even know what would possess me to say something like that, especially with me being a married woman. But I was gone off that Henny. That's still no excuse. And I was just talking crazy. But instead, you were like, no, Angela apologized to me also because in Nashville, she had brought up Simon. Angela said, no, what I said in Nashville was that I wanted to know, well, why did you take that lady's husband? So then she said, and Shamia said that she introduced the two of you. Well, baby, what'd she say that for? Shamia was like, no, ma'am. I never said that. I said that I was there to support them. I thought it was a beautiful relationship, but I did not introduce them. Even the two of them say that they met in the DM. Girl, Portia's face says all of it. And it says that the lie detector test determined that was a lie. Portia, now go ahead and just be honest. because you told us on Portia's Family Matters, and I ain't gonna never forget, and y'all know I don't forget things Atlanta related. You told us on Portia Family Matters that Shamia introduced y'all. And I remember saying in the review, oh, so now I got to side eye Shamila. Because why would you go over there and introduce that lady's husband to Portia? So now y'all sitting here acting like I didn't see what I saw, and I feel gaslit. Because y'all trying to make me think I'm crazy. And I know dang on well that you said that. So Angela is still like, no, you did say that you introduced the two of them. Like I said, both of them like to lie. Shamia, you're lying, girl. Andy turned to Portia and he said, did Shamia introduce you? Now, Portia took a pause. And then she said, no. Now, that pause told everybody in the room everything that they needed to know. Andy said, well, why did you pause? Because she's lying for Shamia, which makes absolutely no sense. So then Andy says, did y'all come up with a story so you wouldn't look like a home-wrecking, hookah-smoking hussy? Now, he ain't say all that, but y'all know I like to zhuzh it up. But he did say that y'all concoct a story so that it wouldn't look so bad. And she was like, no, I got introduced to him. I had him and I gave him back. And girl gone. Moving forward. So then Andy brings up a viewer saying that Portia and Dennis should get back together and give Pilar a sibling. Here go Portia. Dennis is such a jewel. And that's why I was so protective about our relationship, because I needed my co-parent to get through this divorce. Baby, the way Portia can spin a story. So was he a jewel down in Mexico? Girl, anyway. Then he brings up Drew, because we gonna move on, honey. He's such a jewel. Okay. So then he brings up Drew, saying that Portia's return was a flop. Drew said, I stand on that. Big flop energy. It gave nothing, honey. Belly flop. Flip flop. It gave all of that. It was a flop. She said, she had plenty of things to talk about, but she decided to talk about me. Simon says, you have no storyline. I said, okay, Drew, I like that. Because, Drew, she don't really be getting into it as she get into it. So the fact that she had a little something, I said, okay, Drew been practicing. I like it. It's giving first seat energy. Okay, I like that. So then Andy wanted to know why Drew filmed with Dennis. She said, you just got to catch me where you catch me. And if I happen to be filming with Dennis, then I happen to be filming with Dennis. Drew, that is literally not how this works. You know dang on well that y'all have specific call times and different scenes that you put together. And this, you and Dennis planned to film together. Now, I'm with you when you're right, but when y'all try to play in my face, then I have to call it out. So Andy wanted to know if Portia really thought that Drew was sleeping with Dennis for beats. And she was like, oh, no. Well, baby, when she said that, Shamia said, I thought you said that he sent you a text. And the text said that, like, I thought you saw a text. I said, I know that's right, honey, because let's hear it. That's exactly what you said. She was like, well, I don't know what it said. I don't have the text. You don't have the text? How convenient. Interesting. Now, she also cannot conveniently remember what Drew said, but she remembers that Dennis said, I'm not trying to F you, but I need my money for the studio. Portia, you know damn well that meant I'm not trying to mess you over. I'm not trying to F you. Not I'm not trying to F you. You know that that's not the same thing. He just meant I'm not trying to mess you over, but I need my money. Because the people say Drew don't like to pay. That should have told you everything you needed to know right there. Her and Sheree used to be fighting over who ain't gonna pay. Remember when she brought that tattered wig down to that damn gift exchange? Drew ain't got it. She ain't got it. I love Drew, but Drew ain't got it, honey. And then you're going to try to make it like that lady was trying to sleep with that man. You know dang gone well. And I'm glad Shamia called it out. You said you saw a text message. Now, where is the said text? Moving forward. So then Drew told them, what we had was a real business. We were really making music together. So then Cynthia chimed in trying to defend Portia. Cynthia, please. You know what? You have so much to say to everybody else in defense of Portia. But whenever Portia does anything, you're sitting silent. You didn't chime in when we were on the segment about her saying she would F Angela's husband. You had zero to say. Now all of a sudden you want to say something to Drew? That's why she told you over there on that YouTube channel she wanted Leon. I bet it don't feel good, do it? Moving forward. So then Drew said, Portia knew. Portia said she didn't know. Drew said, yes, you did. I talked to you. And Shamia said again, well, girl, you told me that she didn't know. Look, I like the fact that Shamia is calling out all of the discrepancies, honey. Call them out. Because the girls like to get on here and lie, and so do you, but I'm glad that you're calling it out. And then Drew was like, just get in her lap. Just go ahead, little lap dog. Go ahead and get in her lap. Well, Drew, you can't call her a lap dog because you did say that. I mean, the facts are the facts. So then Shamia said, girl, me and you never really had beef. I was simply asking you a question. When I asked about, if you were dating Dennis, but y'all kept saying, I said, were you effing Dennis? And I didn't say that. Shamia, you and Kelly think that we're stupid. You asked that question for Portia, and we all know that you asked that question for Portia. And my biggest question is, why would you care? Why? Because you wanted to be down for your friend, the same way that Kelly was defending Britt. So then Portia turns around and says, well, I didn't even want Shamia to even ask any questions to Drew. I didn't even want to know anything about that. These two are throwing each other under the bus, and it's ridiculous. And Portia, I do not buy it. Okay, you were too ready to cuss Drew out. She was a low down, dirty individual. And now all of a sudden, you didn't want Shamia to ask her no questions? Girl, please, you couldn't wait. That's why y'all went upstairs to move the scene from one place to the next. You were ready to get into it, and Shamia did your dirty work. Y'all ain't fooling me. So then Shamia says that Portia's lying. Portia said, no, I just wanted to focus on filming. I said that. So Andy wanted to know, why Dennis? Why are you working with him? But I mean, Portia, you did say it was some dang on good music. So then Portia says, well, no, it's because, one thing I would never take away from Drew is her accolades, honey. But she did that to me on the Breakfast Club, started talking about my go naked hair. So then Drew basically said, girl, you don't like it when somebody else dishes it back out to you. Ain't no fun when the rabbit's got the gun. Now all of a sudden it's a problem because I'm standing up for myself. But when you were saying things to me, then I'm supposed to just take it. So then Andy wanted to know if Portia feels like she owes Drew an apology now that she sees that it was only business. So all of a sudden, this was the most abrupt craziness I've seen. Portia gets up and she goes over to give Drew a hug. And then she sits back down and she tells her it wasn't right. And she apologizes for meeting with Ralph. She says she did it to be petty. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to speak my speech, honey, because the channel is called IMO in my opinion. I feel like if the court of public opinion were on Portia's side this season, then she would still be sitting there looking Drew upside her feathers. And Drew would be sitting there fighting for her damn life. But because the people were not feeling Portia this season, and they felt like, why are you being mean to Drew? And why are you deflecting? And why are you projecting everything that you're going through on Drew? Portia got up and went over there and hugged that lady. It was the biggest way to deflect from responsibility and accountability that I've ever seen. Now, don't get me wrong. Some could say it was a very nice gesture for her to apologize. I guess. But she ain't fooling me. I'm sorry. She ain't fooling me. She saw them people was tearing that go naked hair up. And she was like, you know what? Let me go and apologize to Drew at this reunion, child. Let me get back on the right side of the wrong road. Y'all know Portia will say that in a minute. So she decided to take a U-turn, drive back. Shout out to Candace. And now she's over here on the right side of right with Drew. Moving forward. Now, y'all know Shamia about to do 17 interviews crying because Portia gave Drew a hug. And the thing about me and Portia's relationship, you never had. Baby, the way Shamia finna be crying. Oh, child. Portia, now why would you hug Drew? You know Shamia finna get somewhere and get to crying. But anyway, Drew was receptive of it. And I mean, it seems like they're forging a path towards reconciliation. But truth be told, that beef was undercooked anyway. Okay. And it was fake. And it was a plot and a scheme, child. So I'm glad it's over. Drew, also, you need to switch seats with Shamia. Shamia's giving nothing. Okay. I'm sorry, girl. You're giving nothing but prettiness. You look pretty, but that's not enough to sit up there. So then they move on to Kelly and Britt's situation. I don't know why we even talking about Britt. We could have skipped Kelly. Kelly said, she didn't just get glam for the show. She been about that life. And she extended that glam to Britt, but not forever. Like, girl, do you want my life? What do you want? Kelly, I think it was a bit of jealousy, honey. And it's not so much as you're jealous of Britt's life, but maybe you felt like, well, dang, now that I've put her on my stylist, they're pulling better looks for her. Or she looks better in these looks than I do. And, it's like that. And I feel like that it is. Andy wanted to know what Portia thought. Portia said, well, Britt told me that Kelly was jealous of her. Kelly said there's absolutely nothing to be jealous of when it comes to Britt. Portia then says, well, I did hear that there was an alliance between Kelly, Shamia, and Britt to take me down. Now, I don't believe it was an alliance to take her down. I feel like there was an alliance with them being new ladies to stick together because you got the OGs, and then really the only OG was Portia. Because ain't nobody going to mess with Drew because they feel like Drew ain't going to bust a grape. So I do think that all three of them had an alliance, but I don't think it was to take down Portia. I think she's adding a little stank on it. Shamia said, no, it was an alliance, but you were in on it too. Child, this is a mess. Portia saying no, Shamia saying yes. Y'all lie so much. I don't know. Y'all are like the boy who cried wolf. So I really don't know who's telling the truth. But I don't think Portia was in on it at first, but she probably caught wind of it eventually. I don't know, child. Y'all just be lying, honey. So I really don't care. Andy brings up Kelly co-signing the secret baby comment that Britt said to Angela at the Bailey Q. Child, I was finna say the Bailey Bowl. Y'all know how I like to do. Kelly said, I was just taking up for my friend, but I really do hate that I supported her because I know what it's like now to be lied on. And she turned and apologized to Angela. Now, for me, Kelly would be out. And the reason why is because, girl, all of a sudden now that things are coming out about you, you want to turn and apologize to me? You want to turn and apologize to me now? But when things were going down, what about that baby though? And it didn't have anything to do with you. And you see how you two turned on each other. Angela said, well, I just wasn't even aware that there were alliances being formed. I didn't know that was a thing because, I was riding solo. And you know what? That's exactly why the fans took to you, because they were sharing a stylist, a brain, and every damn thing else. It was giving very much Pinky and the Brain. So you better be glad that you did not get involved in an alliance. She kept saying allegiance, but an alliance. And Shamia was like, yeah, we were saying like we were young and fun. And Andy said, well, why didn't y'all invite Angela? She's young. They didn't invite Angela into it because they feel the exact same way as Phaedra. Angela reads older and she does not come across young and turned. So it was no way that they were about to forge an allegiance, as she would say, with her. And they were like, no, she had Drew. Angela said, no, I didn't have anybody. I was not in an alliance with Drew. And she might have been better with 50 Cent aesthetically, is what they're thinking. Because she ain't one of us. And really and truly, I wouldn't want to be one of y'all no way. Moving forward. So then Andy brings up how it went dark when they went to the vault. When Britt brought up the A word, going and doing that. And Kelly said, well, it's my body, my choice. But now I have to explain to my girls what that word means. And I haven't even talked to them about that yet. She says that she never talked to Britt about any of that. She talked to the stylist and the stylist told Britt, but he ran it back wrong and he's lying. And baby, that stylist about to push them bangs to the side and go off, honey, because y'all know how he do. Kelly, girl, go on mentally prepare. Whatever you told that stylist, he about to put it all over online, child. And I'm going to talk about it tomorrow over on the Patreon. Y'all come to the Patreon so we can talk about it, child. Moving forward. Andy wants to know how it feels now that Kelly is finally divorced. She said, it feels good. Ain't no feeling like being free. Honey, shout out to DC3. She is so happy that she is not with that man right now. Andy wanted to know, why do you go around with the bodyguard? So then Portia gonna pipe up and say, well, I think Kelly has a bodyguard for two reasons. So everybody's like, two? What you mean? She said, for one, because her ex was after her. And I also heard that she was just doing that for the show. Now, I feel like that is the most insensitive, ridiculous thing that I have ever heard. And this is the reason why victims keep quiet. The woman clearly stated that the man said that he would unalive her in front of the judge. He didn't go to jail because he was cute. Okay? And the fact that you would say that, it's like, girl, that is so tacky. So then Drew was like, well, he said he talked to Ralph. Some kind of way, Ralph gonna make sure he gets his 15 minutes. I don't know who the hell Ralph knows in production, but I wish y'all would cut ties because I'm so sick of seeing his flat head. But Ralph said that Kelly put the ex-husband in jail. I mean, as she should. Kelly said, look, you cannot just get a restraining order. You have to have a cause. Now, while she's talking, Portia is over there whispering to Phaedra, you can in Georgia. You can in Georgia. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what I personally know. I know that you have to jump through hoops and hurdles to get a restraining order, especially in the state of Texas. Now, it might be different in Georgia, but you got to have some solid proof. And even then, they're like, no, because they're more reactive than proactive. So I don't believe for 1 second that this woman just made up a lie on this man to get a restraining order. So then Portia was like, well, Attorney Parks, what do you think? So then Phaedra was like, well, you can pretty much get one by saying anything. And if the person doesn't have a defense and they don't come to court, then it's granted. Listen to me. This kind of BS thinking lands women on t-shirts and as balloon release recipients. This kind of BS right here. This old pick me ignorant behavior. And I didn't like that. Judges make it very hard to get restraining orders. The woman was telling us about things that she had gone through at the hands of this man. And y'all gonna sit here and say that? You two are always trying to diminish and dismiss somebody else's experience. But when it's y'all, Portia is crying and she loved Simon. Girl, please. I don't give a damn. That lady sat up there and told y'all that she was abused in her marriage. There will be no reason to just get a RO for nothing. And child, I'm not finna listen to Phaedra anyway. You could not even get child support out of Bob for Sheree. And he was representing his damn self. And Bobby Brown already told us that he wouldn't hire you again if somebody paid him. Girl, bye. Moving forward. So Andy wanted to know what's going on with Nana chicken and waffles. The girl don't like to pay her bills. Kelly, honey, stop spoiling Cha-Cha and get it to business, honey. Get on down to business. Because even Andy said maybe you should spend less on your pup and more on your business. Okay, we got to get some money management going, honey, because it's looking a fool. So then Andy finally speaks to Shamia at the 50-minute mark, which is why she should have been at the end of the couch. He wanted to know if she came in between Kelly and Britt's relationship. Shamia said, no, I was actually trying to mediate the two and get them back together. Girl, no, you were not. Andy wanted to know if there will ever be a time where Kelly and Britt can be friends again. Why are we asking this question? Britt is never showing back up here. I hope not. Kelly then says, no, I'm never going to be friends with her again. And she basically felt like Britt was a user. She did everything for her with the Kenya situation, the IV drips and everything. And she did not return the favor. Now, I do think that Kelly poured into Britt more than was reciprocated. I feel that way. But Kelly, you said you spent $1,000 for 3 IV drips. Girl, I get those drips monthly and it's only $150. So why was it so much? Girl, they saw you coming. Not $1,000. Girl, that is crazy. So then we move on to Angela, honey, because it's time to wrap this thing up. We see her time on the show, and I just felt so bad seeing her mom. May she rest in peace, because I know that probably was hard for Angela as well. Andy wants to know why she's so certain that Phaedra is the one that set that whole thing up. Angela said because he said so, and he's from Athens, and his aunt is Kim, and y'all know Andy gonna defend Phaedra if he don't do nothing else. So what does that mean? So then Angela said, they went to the same high school together. Is this your brother? Phaedra said, girl, I don't know him. Angela said, well, it's a pattern with you. So then Phaedra wanted to know, what's the pattern? Girl, we know what the pattern is. Let's be very for real. She says, it's a lie and the truth ain't in it. Angela tells her about the pattern. She pulls out this manila folder. But y'all, I'm sorry. I like Angela, but this just fell flat for me. It really did. Then she tried to clean it up. Well, at first he blamed Kelly. Okay, so who did it? You just discredited everything you just did right here by saying at first he blamed Kelly. There was no reason for that. Even Andy said so because this man said it is the reason why you believe it. Angela, girl. And I don't think she did this to herself. I know a lot of people are like, Angela set this up herself to clear Charles's name. I don't believe that either. Angela, this man is a clout chasing clown. Okay. And I feel like Angela didn't even seem confident when she presented this evidence. So then she says, well, I feel like Phaedra did it to secure her spot. Now, Phaedra, you did eat her up when you said, baby, I don't have to secure my spot. I have a guaranteed contract. Okay, now check that. So now they're going back and forth and back. And When it didn't work out, she turned around and she said to Portia, I'm trying to figure out why you would believe anything that Phaedra said, especially after season 9. Portia was like, because it sounds stupid. Day Day or Junebug or whoever the hell it was, it sounded made up. It just didn't make any sense. Okay, it didn't. Now, for me, 2 things can be true. Phaedra does know that man. I could tell the way she was looking in that scene. You definitely know that man. Now, did you send that man there? I don't know. I can't prove it. But you definitely know him. And that man was looking for his 15 minutes of fame. He's a fan. He's a fan. He's a fan. He is a fan. Y'all got to stop getting so close to randoms. They shouldn't even be allowed in y'all space. Baby, there was a time when you saw a housewife, it was like striking gold. They did not fraternize with any and everybody. Like Nene said, I don't want to go to a Twitter party. Maybe she didn't want to go to no Twitter party. Now, Athens is a small town, according to Nene and Phaedra. She said the same thing. So why are you acting like you wouldn't know any of these people? That's what made me feel like it was a lie. But I don't think Phaedra did this. As much as I hate to admit it, I don't think so. And also, that oldest brother of Phaedra's, baby, he stayed being mentioned on the reunion. He gonna start asking for a check here in a minute. And that was the end of the episode. I'm sorry, Angela. It didn't give nothing, child. Reunion part 1 didn't give nothing for me. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. Y'all tell me your opinions down below. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.